This is it. The game director's response to everything that has been happening with Helldivers 2 Escalation of Freedom, and its response and a comment on the balance in the game. And of course, the balance direction. So we're going to break all of this down. Now, of course, we've been waiting for this for quite a long time. We want to know what the devs are doing. We want to work it out. We want to see what they're saying. We want to see how they're responding to what has been going on. And we're going to take a look at this thread because, yeah, this is literally just dropped. You guys can see 21 minutes ago. This is official from Arrowhead. So let's break this down. Fellow Helldivers, I want to directly address the feedback you've raised about the Escalation of Freedom update. We've spent the last week listening to feedback, reflecting about the path ahead for Helldivers 2 and how we want to continue developing the game. In short, we didn't hit our target with the last update or the latest update. Some things we just didn't get right, and other more fundamental inconsistencies in our approach to game balance and game direction. So that is an admission. The balance is broken, right? And the game is, the direction is all over the place. You kind of don't know what you're going to get from Helldivers. I think on the one side, you've got the players that want the OP weapons, the hordes of enemies to mow down. And then on the other side, you've got the balance devs seemingly want to make it more of like a realistic mill sim in a lot of ways, although a very light mill sim. And then they just don't compute. They actually don't compute, and they don't go together. If anything, it's a failure to understand the reasons why the game became so popular. But anyway, that's an admission, so that's fine. Then goes on to say, all of that is on us, and we're going to own that. As many of you have pointed out, we agree, what matters now most is action, not talk. Yeah, this has been a narrative that's been running around with Helldivers for a while. This is because the devs and the community managers and you name anyone officially affiliated with Helldivers or Arrowhead, they do post quite a lot. They will say things, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Johan was very active on Twitter for a while. He would say, hey, the game direction for balance is not great. I'm going to step down from the CEO position to become the CCO, the Chief Creative Officer, and I'm going to work with this. And then we see the next update comes out. Actually was pretty good, that next update. You know, a lot of people really enjoyed that. But we're a few updates down the line, the biggest update the game's ever had with Escalation of Freedom, and we've gone back 5 or 6 steps. It seems like there were words that were spoken, but there was no action that was actually done. It seems like I don't have this on the screen, right? I've just noticed this. I apologize. I will move it. There we go. That would have sent me wild. If I was watching this video and I noticed that black line to the side there, I would have been like, what is this guy doing? He can't even frame it properly. What an idiot. Anyway, yeah, things were said. Action was not taken. Action needs to be taken, right? I think this is where you get the issue of the devs speaking in public a bit too much. The problem with gamers and communities that form around games is if you say something and you're an official source, it becomes official. If you say we're going to do this and the balance is going to get better, then it gets worse. Then we go, what are you talking about? You said it would get better. You know, you have to be very careful when you make the public statement. If anything, it felt like their internal comms were a bit too external, but whatever. I like that because it gets us, you know, we get to see what's going on, but whatever. To that end, here's what we intend to do in the upcoming updates. Right, we're going to get into it now. How are they going to fix this? So this is the plan for the next 60 days. That's 2 months. That's a long time, right? So the first thing they're going to do is continue to re-examine our approach to balance. Our intention is that balance should be fun, not balanced for the sake of balance. Right. I mean, I wish they were a bit more... I wish that statement was a bit more direct, a bit more like, we're going to make the weapons powerful and fun, and we know they're not powerful and fun, and we're going to sort it. That would have been a good statement to make. Instead of saying, like, hey, we're going to re-examine... our intention is that balance should be fun, not balanced for the sake of balance. I mean, that you can kind of read that in a lot of ways. In fact, you can read the first sentence there as like, right, you're still re-examining balance still. What is the balance direction in the game? It's not make it, well, it is. It's make it realistic, make it not fun to use the weapons. It should be. Let's make the weapons fun. So I would have liked a statement there on what they're going to do with weapon balance. But I guess they're looking at it still, and they do want to make them fun. And you can read that in a lot of different ways. Fun to somebody who just wants to mow down loads of enemies is make the weapons really strong and really good, right? Which I think is most people. Anyway, here's a big one. Update how fire damage mechanic works to tweak how the flamethrower serves as a close range support weapon. A quick straight revert won't work as it would break other things. So I was really worried about this. So there's no explanation given here as to why they made the flamer change, right? But him saying here, we can't do a revert, it will break other things. They obviously made this change for other reasons. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was performance related. However, the stream of particles was getting formed when you fired that flamethrower, and however it applied its damage, and possibly the visual or the VFX, which were getting triggered on all the enemies. Maybe it was too much, and maybe it tanked performance in a way that they had to get rid of it. Again, that's just speculation. I don't know. Trying to bring the flamethrower back to how it was, I mean, this again is like 60 days to fix this, if that's what it's going to take. I know this is just within the next 60 days, so this stuff could get fixed within a week or whatever. It's again breaking things, right? It worked anyway, but we've broke it. Now we've got to go back and make it work kind of close to how it used to work before. I'm disappointed with this, to be honest, guys. I thought it would be like, no, we're going to fix this and we're going to bring it back, and maybe even an explanation as to why they did it, because it's very odd. It was an insane change, and if anything, you know, you had a fire-based war bond, you would think you'd want the fire weapons to be badass like they were, not shite like they are. And again, I don't know. If I was running that company, whoever made that decision to be in my office and explaining to me, I'd be like, what have you done, son? I probably would get sent to HR. Anyway, yeah, so flamethrowers are kind of going to come back. Rework gameplay to prevent excessive ragdolling. Okay, this I can get behind. This I can actually get behind. The Impaler throws you across the map constantly, but it's not the bugs that are the issue, it's the bots. Ragdolling against the bots is so frustrating. You've got like the Hulk with the rocket launcher, right? That fires loads of really little fast rockets at you. They spin you all over the map. You've got the rocket devastators blow you all over the map. You've now got the rocket scout walkers blow you all over the map. You just get ragdolled like crazy against the bots, getting hit by the tanks, hit by the factory striders, you name it, right? So ragdolls. I think the issue with the ragdolling is you get locked into the ragdoll animation and it feels really janky. You know what I mean? It's not smooth. It's not like, oh, I've been knocked and then I'll come straight back. It's like, I'm in the ragdoll animation mode and now I will still be in it on the floor for a bit. Oh, and I'll stand up. Another thing they should fix as well, this really is bloody annoying. You want to talk about realism, this does break the realism, is where you come out of the water, you know, when it's a puddle, like you literally can't submerge, but because you've been ragdolled into it, the animation plays of you coming out of the water. It's like, hey, stupid. That needs to be sorted. So, okay, I can get behind that. That's fine. Rethink our design approach to primary weapons and create a plan for making combat more engaging. Again, that's a bit superficial. Like, that could be anything. Design approach to primary weapons. What does that mean? Does that mean the primary weapons are going to be primary and you use them more than the support weapons? Because if you're, I don't know, rolling the autocannon, you're using that more than your primary, right? And in a lot of cases with the support weapons, you do use them over the primary. The primary is almost used as a secondary, and the secondary is like a bad situation if you're pulling out your secondary, unless it's the grenade pistol to blow up a building or something, or a bug hole. So again, yeah, I'd like more elaboration on this, but primary weapons, you've got a lot of them in the game, and a lot of them are just not very good, and so people don't use them. So it would be nice if they got buffed. But again, if you said primary weapons, we're going to buff them, you would understand that. But just changing our design approach, I don't know, can mean a lot of things. And making combat more engaging, again, can mean a lot of things, right? I think combat in this game is engaging when you're just getting flooded with enemies and you've got loads of firepower. That's literally it. You don't have to go and make some crazy systems change for that. You know, that's just surely easy to do, right? Mental. Anyway, reprioritize bug fixes so the more immediate gameplay impacting bugs are prioritized. This is insane as well, right? This should just be happening anyway. Like, you do not need to tell the public you're doing this. You're just doing this anyway. This is like, we will focus on the most game-breaking bugs. But what have you already been doing? Like, have you just been going, well, that's not a priority. We'll go and work on a different one. When actually, you know, things that disconnect you from the game, things that stop. I mean, we had this early days of Helldivers. You get disconnected a lot, and it was super annoying, especially during extraction. We've got problems even now with performance, although my performance has been fine, and I've been on a record saying I think this patch has been really good for performance. But that's only against the bugs. Play against the bots is frigging terrible. I don't know what's going on against the bots, although there was a patch that went in today, which hopefully has reduced some of that performance problem. But against the bots, it was horrible. So yeah, this is a weird one. This is like an admission that they were just doing like what? They were just doing anything. Make no sense. Right, improve game performance. Yeah. Frame rate is a focus, whatever. Frame rate, when we say game performance, that's what everyone means. You want more frames, right? So yeah. Interesting. Rework the chargers. Now, I would say chargers are like, so we laugh about chargers saying they're the baseline of balance in the game. The way their armor functions, the way that changes are seemingly made to make chargers, well, not die. We've gone from normal chargers taking one shot to the head with an eat rocket to die to behemoth chargers that take two, and sometimes three, but generally two rockets, which is a massive balance problem because then you get swamped with them and you have to do things to get rid of them. So you have to get really good with the precision orbital strike, for example. Maybe you take weapons that they've got a bit more uptime, things like the quasar, even though that's very difficult to pull off against the chargers, especially when you're getting flooded with loads of enemies and higher difficulties. So interesting. I think the other thing with chargers is the way they turn as well. Like a charger, it's very one-dimensional. In fact, it's really quiet as well. I don't know whether I'm making this up, but chargers, you can't hear them a lot, and they'll just come from behind you like, what the hell, there was a charger there? I mean, it's a massive thing. You should be able to hear it. I'd like to see a mechanic maybe in place where you could strip the armor off a charger with your primary weapon. So through sustained damage, the armor actually falls away. Instead of it just deflecting all the bullets, it would give you an option then to maybe work on the front leg, for example, rip off the armor and then hit it with your support weapons, or even continue hitting it with your primary weapon to take it out. That might be a way of getting around that. Of course, you can kind of do this anyway. You can rip off armor with things like the auto cannon and stuff like that. And you could do it with... I forgot the name of it, the exploding shrapnel weapon, the eruptor, before it was nerfed. So, yeah, interesting though. But again, no context is given. Just reworking charges could mean anything. All right, let's move on. So, additionally, from a bigger picture perspective, okay, exploring the creation of an opt-in beta test environment to improve our testing processes as we consider this a high priority. Yeah. Okay, so this, I imagine this will use Steam. So what this will be is a different branch of the game where you can opt into the beta test and you get the beta client, and it will include all of the new stuff in the game. Almost like if you're a Blizzard gamer, a public test realm, a test server effectively. This would be good because it would solve problems that are just like clearly the Q&A teams and the devs don't pick up on. Because you have to remember, once the game update is put out to the public, within a minute or like within 10 minutes, there's more gameplay hours on that new content than the devs could ever get, because the devs have only, there's only like 100 or so devs. There's not like 40,000 of them that log on to play the game straight away when there's an update. So yeah, you can understand that. But I think this is definitely a high priority, and I think this would solve a lot of the issues, because if we could get on and test stuff, like you imagine the feedback immediately would be flame weapons are garbage, guys. What's going on? That needs to be sorted. So I do think this is a good priority. Post regular player surveys to gain more insights and feedback from the community. Like, yeah, I think though, you know what? I know a lot of game companies do player surveys, right? Companies like Blizzard do it, EA do it, everyone does it. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you should have community managers that are capable of distilling what the community are doing, right? I think I could do that. I'm not a community manager. I'm just a guy that makes content, but I think I'm quite aware of what the community thinks, right? And it's simply through reading Reddit, being involved, playing the game at a higher level, and just, being in and around the game. You can understand the community's frustrations. It's not to say that everything I think is great and fine. No, it's not. But I don't think having the need to keep going out and like issuing player surveys is necessarily required, because you can kind of just it's almost like you don't need it, right? You can look on social media. I know social media is quite toxic. My nose is itching really bad. Have I got like hay fever? But you can you can distill what's going on with the community through looking at social media. So if there's like a negative trend coming through, you'll probably see it. You can report that back to the devs. Maybe we start making changes. I think relying on players to give you additional feedback is going to be a bit difficult, because I'm not too sure how many people would actually do that, because more, people are more, I suppose, inclined to just throw their thoughts out there on social media rather than that. But still, this is okay. I think if this isn't resource intensive, I wouldn't be necessarily against this, right? It's just like whatever. It also does make the community feel more involved in the game, right? If you do get an official place where you could leave feedback. It does mean, though, that they need to acknowledge your feedback. They can't just fill in a form and it goes, okay, thanks for your feedback, and that's it. Like, people will feel like they're just throwing feedback into the, into literally the Meridia black hole. You know what I mean? They'd rather post it on social media, because at least they know people can see it. So, Improve our process for patch and release notes, providing more context and reasoning behind the changes. Yeah, and you've done this before in the past, Arrowhead. You have done this before. They did it on their official website with one of the first changes that they put out, a weapon balance change, where they had a bunch of the weapons and then they explained why they'd nerfed them, which you can agree with or disagree, but at least you've got context. So, yeah, they have done this, which is fine. More blog posts and streams where we expand on these topics for those interested. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Like, that's fine. I don't mind that. We also want to thank you for your patience. We're grateful that so many of you provided constructive feedback and suggestions on the latest update. Mikhail E, Game Director. So, yeah. I guess we'll take a quick look at the some of these comments to see what people kind of break down and what they think. So, rework the chargers. Yeah, you see, like, fix their turn radius. Yeah, and how quiet they are. I agree with that. This person says, fix the radius, fix leg weak points, randomly speeding up, colliding with walls and obstacles. They do get stuck quite a lot, don't they? You get the chargers sitting on like one of those little rocks and it doesn't move. Fix their air bugging out when they walk into certain geometry, teleporting or climbing up vertical walls, and their butt not being a weak point. Yeah, scale the behemoth down. You see, the thing is, though, the flamethrower would have annihilated these. This is the thing. The flamethrower is really good against the chargers, and once you got good at using it, you could bait the chargers to come at you, even if it was a behemoth one. Dive behind it, set it on fire, and basically take it out really quick. And that, I think, is fun gameplay because you brought a very specific weapon to do that job, but they just removed that from us because reasons. Yeah, I think that's fine. So we've got a bit of a quote here of some of the things that they want to do. If they're for real this time, this does sound pretty promising. I'm confused about why reverting the fire would break other things, though at minimum, they really should fix the visuals of the new fire because it truly looks terrible now. It does. Especially when it bounces, it's appalling how stupid it looks, regardless of how you feel about the balancing choices. And this use says, most probable the torture and the crisper were killing the chargers the same way as the flamethrower. Maybe slower, but still. So if they would revert, then they might think that those weapons would be OP. I don't know. They won't revert because then the new fire weapons in the Warbond would be able to kill chargers like the flamethrower. This is 100% the only reason. I refuse to believe otherwise. I mean, yeah, you could think that. But again, like, I'm going to go on the side of it's performance related. It's got to be. Because in no world would you sit there and go, let's nerf the flamethrowers and make them look visually terrible. Like, what is that a decision? That decision just can't even enter your brain, can it? Like, what the hell? It sounds good. We'll see. 60 days for a charger and ragdoll rework is open. I mean, and no, they've not said it's going to be 60 days. They just said in the next 60 days we're looking at all this stuff. Nice words, but this is easily the second, if not third. Oops, we made a boo-boo, and we'll talk about change community address. It kind of is, yeah. If you guys have a vision and want to keep the core 5,000 players, that's fine, and your prerogative, but you need to decide what direction it's going to and clearly communicate it. Then do it consistently, yeah. I don't know, like, I think, I guess we'll end the video at this, but I think we do know that Arrowhead came with more of a, a light milsim approach to Helldivers 2. That audience is not as big as just straight up action game shooting, right? Okay, we can really dumb this down and go look at the Call of Duty audience, look at something like, I don't know, the Armor audience, right? Armor is probably showing my age talking about Armor. I'm sure there's better. Isn't Squads a milsim game as well? I'm not talking extraction shooters here, by the way. I'm just talking straight up military simulators, hardcore games. Their audience size is nowhere near the size of COD, which is just like an over-the-top action FPS shooter game, whatever. We know what COD is. And I think the devs are almost caught in between two here. They've made the first one, that is the milsim, but actually all the idiots like us have turned up and gone, oh yeah, we like blowing stuff up. And there's a lot of us, and they've gone, oh my God, we've broke records here. We've captured the magic, but we didn't really understand what the magic was. So we've kind of reverted back to our old way of trying to make things a bit more balanced and taking the fun out of stuff, and it's not as over the top, which, by the way, is contrary to all of the humor in the game. It's like totally over the top, isn't it? The way everything's delivered. So yeah, they do need to make a decision. Do you want the big audience? Do you want the dedicated audience? End of the day, whatever they do, it doesn't really matter because this game has been a success. The studio has been a massive success. I'm sure a lot of the guys involved have become very wealthy because of this. So it is like, which one do you want, Arrowhead? But it is terrible at the moment that we're kind of bouncing between the two. So yeah, we'll see. And I guess we'll leave it at this. Less talk, more action. That is exactly what we need to see. All right, guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed that. As ever, I'll keep you up to date with everything Helldivers 2. And yeah, let's see what the next update is going to be, because it's probably going to be quite an interesting one. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Oh, and do remember, if you would like one of my, my extra large mouse mat, I can't show it you because it's like on my desk. I'll put a picture on the screen. You can go check that out. It does support me directly. They are limited edition as well, so they will sell out. And it's obviously Helldivers inspired, if you'd like to pick that up. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. See you soon.